Hello, hello, hello. Hope everyone is doing good. All right, it's Thursday. New model today. Should be interesting. Some fun poses, some tricky poses, and a couple of easy poses. The usual Thursday fare. Okay. Let's get cracking. Welcome new members, by the way, and you will find a link to the reference in the community chat. So if you want to draw along, become a member. It's a good thing. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. I think we'll start with a. Maybe we'll start with a 15. Let's do that. Cameras. All right. Let me start with the timer. Cool. Okay. Yeah, 15 to start. 15, you know. Will we go over a little bit? Maybe. That's quite light, isn't it? I think it'll be okay. Got this lovely kind of rhythmical idea coming from the upper to the lower torso, but then this left leg just sweeping around and coming down this way, just rhythmically, just a line of action. Beautiful line of action going on there. So we will try and bring as much of that energy into this as we can. Cool. All right, center line. Slight twist to the torso. Ah, Margot, you're back. Hope you had a nice trip. And I'm very seriously considering next week getting away from charcoal. I know, who would have thought? But I'm going to have to do some tests and see what might show up on camera nicely as far as other materials. See if there's anything else I could be using. I feel like a break. So we have the cutout for the neck. I've got a feeling my rib cage is a tiny bit on the long side. I'm going to pull it down just a little bit. Now we can't see the clavicle on her left side, but it's useful to kind of block in something for it. And then this hand coming forward, wrist is about here. Something like that. Got a little bit of foreshortening on this forearm too. I'm probably going to group these fingers, but I'm not exactly sure how just yet. So I'll just leave it like that for now. So, if maneuvering is here, we can see this clavicle kind of going up this way. And then this hand, forearm, and this hand is sitting about here. stretching out this way. I should cut this great hair coming across this way. It's sitting in here. Excuse me. Something like so. Okay. Let's so arch of the rib cage is here, coming down. Feels about right. There's a bit of a stretch in here. And then this leg is heavily foreshortened. Sitting, the upper thigh kind of compressed almost, sitting in here. And then the knee is about here. Something like that. Helen says, I missed 144 and can't find it. I'm a member. What are we on, 145? So you missed the last session, Helen. It should be, if you go to my channel page and just look for like live streams, it should be there. I haven't taken it down. It should be available for you, Helen. I will check after the stream, just make sure 100% that it's available, but maybe someone can, if you've got a computer and it's easy for you to check, maybe someone can have a look, but no, it should be there. Good, glad to hear it, Margot. You saw your granddaughter, right? Hope that was, hope she's well. I didn't capture the twist. Yeah, I'm gonna have to push the twist when I get to it as well. I kinda got it, but it could be improved. We'll get there. Not too late. Is it the reference that you can't find? I'm confused. This reference is definitely labeled 145. And 144 is on the reference page. I don't know, you guys will have to figure it out. I definitely don't see it. Okay, now I have to look. I'm going to go to my channel. You can't see this. I can. Past live streams. The weird thing is they're not in order. 133. If you go to the live tab, oh, that's so weird. No, you're absolutely right. Why is 144 not showing? Sorry, guys. That is super strange. 145, and then it jumps to 130. This is numbered wrong. 130 is the wrong numbering. Sorry, that is my mistake. It's the one, it's this, if you go to the live tab, I'm sorry. It's completely my fault. In fact, you know what? You guys are gonna have to forgive me. I'm gonna edit it right now so that it's correct. It says 130, and obviously it should be 144. Hold, please. Content, live, you know what? I was in such edit title and description. Sorry, I'm gonna just, this will just take 1 sec. Real professional of me, isn't it? 144. Save. It was the shoulder girdle one, just for those keeping track. Done, fixed. Now it says 144. Apologies. But you see, just like that, together we fixed it. All right. Okay, back to drawing. Back to drawing. Yeah, I'll tell you why that happens. Because obviously I do rather a few of these, and I have a template for the description and the title and that, you know. And for the longest, well, since stream 130, I haven't updated the template. I just normally edit it on the fly. And on Monday was a weird day for me. I don't know what happened. Time just got away from me, and I was completely rushed. I think I may have even mentioned it in the stream, but I clearly didn't get that correct, or I didn't change that. That's what happened. Okay, so if you hadn't brought that up, Helen, I wouldn't have known. Probably would have figured it out eventually, but you know. Okay. Oh, what happened to the... Oh, jeez. Sorry, guys. Wow. I'm on a roll. I'll tell you why that happens. Because I have hotkeys on OBS, which is the broadcasting software, and 1 or 2 are to change camera angles. So if I change angles, or if I type either of those keys when the live stream's on, it changes the camera, even though I was working on a tab on YouTube. Ay, ay, ay. Day drinking, Richard. No, no drinking, Rick. I think I've mentioned this before, but I would say and I never honestly thought I would say this, but I would consider myself a non-drinker nowadays. I have a tiny, tiny glass of wine a couple of times a week with food, but I'm talking like probably less than quarter of a glass, and even then I don't usually finish it. Ever since last year and all the you know, all the medical stuff. And it wasn't a conscious decision that, oh, I need to make a lifestyle change and I need to stop drinking or anything like that. I just completely lost an appetite for it. And I used to be, I would say, a daily drinker. Never really in too much excess, but... So I can't blame the booze, Rick. Just inherent incompetence. I'm not sure which is worse, honestly. It might be better to be able to blame the drink. Yeah, it's kind of, it's interesting. And I just said I don't miss it at all. And I always thought when I was a drinker, like the idea of just stopping drinking alcohol, always kind of. I always just thought I would never become, I would always be kind of forced upon me on some level. No. I'm glad for it, to be honest. Mark Hope became a member. Welcome, Mark. Hope you're doing good. I am a teetotaler too. This is Nawan. All right, man. The only reason I drink is to have an excuse for my mistakes. We have a. Here's the. You know what I have found, because I did enjoy beer, and I would say that beer was probably my drink of choice. You know, just like lager, I suppose. I have substituted. I do. Each evening, I do find myself wanting something fizzy. And we have this, I'm sure you probably have it in the States and in other countries, but we have a drink here called Rose's Lime Cordial. Can't believe I'm talking about this. Anyway, I do enjoy myself a lime cordial each night with the soda stream. That's become my habit. And to be honest, if you told me I couldn't have that, I would be a little upset. But yeah, there you go. One of those things. And if you haven't had Rose's Lime Cordial and you like things like that, give it a try. It's rather good. I should have them sponsor the stream. Minutes. Let's just go 2 more. Now maybe 3. Let's see. Excuse me. Drink conversations I'm missing out on. Red wine group. Yeah, I gotta say, I never was a white wine drinker, although I've also seen tests where people do blind tests, and a lot of people, if the wine is not refrigerated, a lot of people can't even tell the difference between red and white, which is interesting. I drink like once a month, says Lily. Yeah, like that's kind of where I'm at. What I like about beer is mainly it's not over sweet and it's fizzy. This is what's nice about the Rose's Lime, is it's tart but not very sweet, Jose. So kind of, it's refreshing. Works. Rose's Lime is used to make a vodka kamikaze. Yeah, I'm sure. It's used in a lot of alcoholic drinks as well. Yeah. I'm sort of addicted to San Pellegrino mineral water, a wee bit of flavour in it. I found the Yorkshire tea. Okay, nice. Excellent. San Pellegrino, I'll have to check that out. I think I've had it before, actually. I feel like I have. Anyway, all right, I think we're at 21 minutes, and this drawing is pretty much finished as a diagrammatical. So I think it's probably a good time to move on. Otherwise, it's going to go on another 10 minutes. And I think we've got some other interesting poses. So I think this is a good place to stop. Okay, fun pose. Next, a nice back pose next. What's up, Samuel? This is up. This is what's up. It's Thursday. Bit of drawing, bit of chatting, just getting it done, man, getting it done. I make myself some nice kvass on occasion. It's simple rye beer. If you make it, it's like 1%, it's already in the same day. It's fun. Really, you make it for the same day? How interesting. I might have to check that out. Okay, next pose. Let me reset the clock. Quick sip of tea. Fruit wine. Is it possible to forget everything you've ever known about drawing in one day? Because I think that's just happened. Yes, Rick. It is. The convenient thing is, though, it'll come back as quickly as it left. Samuel asks, do you animate? I have animated, and I spent most of my career working in animation, but in many different roles, not just animation. San Pellegrino. All right, we're getting endorsements. Yeah, Rick, that was a fun session though, right? If you make the 3-day or 1-week version, it tastes better. All right, Leila, but it's alcoholic, right? It does get alcohol in it from the fermentation, I'm guessing. Nice second pose. Yeah, let's do it. And let me reset the clock. I think we'll go probably the same amount of time. Maybe try and steer more towards 15, but you know how this is. I always find the rotation of the forearm to the upper arm weird to draw when drawing from imagination. Any tips? In my mind, that transition, we got the ulnar and the radial bone, right, in the forearm. And actually, if you put your hand here and you do that, you'll feel the radial bone rotate around the ulnar, right? So you've got all of these kind of forearm muscles here. I don't know if you can see that very well, guys. Anyway, you've got all these forearm muscles here, which kind of rotate slightly. Now, you know, on me it doesn't make much difference, but on someone that's quite, you know, if someone's quite lean, you'll probably see some of that crossover. I don't think it matters. You see, I tend to group the forearm stuff anyway, but I think what's really important about the forearm is this brachioradialis muscle, right, that's attaching up here, and it's a transitional muscle. We'll draw it. If you lock that brachioradialis muscle, that will tend to help things make sense. It's kind of hard to explain, but yes, it is tricky. I never knew about this animation background of yours. Oh, geez, Samuel. Yeah, 35 years working in animation. Okay. God, we've been going 2 minutes. I've literally not made a mark on the page. Okay. I'm actually going to shift that over a little bit. I'm going to find the spine first, as I tend to do with these back poses. And we'll just block in. Lovely, lovely twist to the form here. Scapula. Talked all about the scapula last week. Although I feel like we talked a lot about the shoulder girdle, and we kind of talked about the scapula. Okay, Lulu. Do you remember where those muscles are? You said you remembered the names, but not the placement. And then we went over it. And I'm hoping you now remember which goes where. Not that it really matters. Okay, so I need to actually lift this up, because this is actually where the iliac crest is because of this turn here. So this is wrong. So I know that this actually needs to be up here. Somewhere in here. Iliac crest coming up this way. Coming up this way. Yeah. Fixed. I think are my proportions off? Maybe. Yeah, they are. This all needs to be a bit bigger. Alright, we'll pull out to about there. Fixed. This is getting dangerous when you start doing this though. Alright, anyway, I'll fix it. Occipital ridge, trapezius coming down. Elbows about here. forearm coming out this way. Something like so. Okay, this elbow's here. This elbow's about here. Somewhere in there. Teres major and minor are lower portion of the scapula, infraspinatus above, supraspinatus on top of the whole thing. Sitting in the ridge of the scapula. Exactly. Infraspinatus covers the main mass of the scapula. Excellent, Lulu. Right, Margot, brachioradialis is, it's one of the, you know, it comes back to this thing about landmarks, which I talk about a lot, how a few landmarks we can get a lot of mileage out of them, excuse the pun. And this arm is coming out this way and kind of going off the page. So that's because I pushed and made everything larger. I'm not too worried about it because it does give me an opportunity to work large here. So losing this hand is a sacrifice worth making in my mind. Although generally bad form to do that, but okay. Foot sitting here. That one's there. And then this one, well, these toes are actually resting in the heel of this foot. And we actually have, so we've got a lot of compression here, obviously. Sitting in here. That leg we can just see going away from us there. Okay. Prince of Egypt podcast. Haha. I did work on Prince of Egypt, well, you obviously, I'm guessing you know that. interesting movie to work on. One of the more challenging in some respects. So probably that, and I would say El Dorado I learnt the most on. Like, I'd already been working in animation almost 10 years, I think, when I went to DreamWorks. But I got to DreamWorks and I very quickly realized that I was in the presence of masters. You know, it didn't take too much to figure that out. And I saw an opportunity to kind of try and absorb as much as I could, if that makes sense. And I felt like after I'd been there like a week, I felt like, okay, I know nothing. It's quite humbling, especially after working in the industry for a while. You know, you think you figured a few things out, and then you realize, oh, actually, guess what? You got some learning to do, my lad. And this drawing is off. Why is it off? Okay, so my head's in the wrong place. All right, let's fix it. Ear. Ear is actually about here. So maybe actually I get away with a few things there. Let's see. Yeah, that'll be better. How did that happen? Okay. Something like that. Thanks, Sebastian. After all the trouble, the model went to group her fingers in pairs. Completely omitted that hand. Yes, right, there's the pairs. There you go. Yeah, right, drawing big, then transitioning to small can be tricky. If I change medium, as I was saying, it's something I'm going to have to come to terms with too, is that my paper is going to have to change as well. And Yeah, that's going to mean I'm going to have to draw smaller. So I'm going to have to change camera and all of that stuff too. So I'm actually taking a few liberties here. I'm pulling out the rib cage a little bit. I think that actually will work better. Making some adjustments there too, just adding mass in every direction, which doesn't bode well for my initial measurements, but here we are. Okay, so with that done, I need to probably do something similar on this side. This I do not like. Nah. Arm's a mess. Okay. I need to get on the Discord. Margot's just reminded me. I haven't been on the Discord in so long, and I feel really bad because obviously it's my Discord, and I feel like I should be. I should be checking it more than I do, and interacting and making it a place of value. I'll be honest with you. Okay, maybe this brings up something interesting that I have been thinking about. Is I'm not sure exactly what I want to do with the Discord. Like, obviously it's a lovely place for people to showcase and to have conversations, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what to do. Because it feels like it really requires me to be involved and active, and it's hard to find the time. Like, to give you an example, I literally haven't taken, I don't think, maybe a single photo of any of my drawings from the last 15, well no, not 15, maybe the last 8 to 10 streams. And I was really on top of it for a while. It's just everything's so time consuming. All right. Anyway, to the point is, I haven't had a chance to see what you did with Lulu, but I'm curious to have a look. I will go check it out. Sounds like a humbling experience. I guess you mean the, I'm behind on the chat. Yeah, exactly, yes, it was. Yeah, the foreshortening on these legs is going to throw you off, for sure. This Animator's Survival Guide, the Richard Williams book, yeah? A good book. I think a good book that works in tandem with other sources. My feeling on the Animator's Survival Kit guide, look, let's be clear, Dick Williams was an absolute titan in the world of animation. That is undisputed. And one of the great pioneers, innovators, all of those ideas, right? Like, the guy was brilliant, absolutely brilliant in what he did and his contribution to animation. Very few have contributed as much as Richard Williams. But I got to say, with that book, it felt very technically proficient in as much as the technical side of animation. I personally felt it was a little bit lacking, not a little bit, I thought it was lacking in the performance side of animation. And maybe that's not what it was aiming to do, in fairness, but I would like to have seen a little bit more with regards to, you know, you can have all the technical proficiency in the world, but you really need a way to bring it all together, if that makes sense. And I'm not sure that book, at least for me, answered those questions to the degree that I feel like it could have, given his knowledge and experience. But maybe that's another book to be written by someone else, you know, like, but look, don't listen to me. Like, Richard Williams was brilliant. There's no doubt. All right, we're at 25 minutes already. Gosh, okay. All right, little bit. Let's just give this 2 minutes of cast shadow. Oh, sorry, core shadow. What medium? I think I'm gonna go. It's a good question. My pencil box is actually out of reach right now. I don't know, something maybe a pastel-y pencil that's in maybe, yeah, something like that. Hold on. Well, let me finish this drawing and then I'll grab my pencil box and we'll have a look and see what choices there might be. It's our Discord. True, very true. I wish there was more actual critique in Discord rather than just likes. Fair point. Fair point. Yes, I do appreciate that, Rick. And I've been reluctant to get into that. Well, partly because, you know, it's part of my bread and butter is having students and doing critiques, you know, on a more individual basis. But also, if I start critiquing for one person, I'm going to feel compelled to obviously give equal time, and then that's just going to get very, very time consuming. Yeah, I get it, Lulu. Just reading your Discord comment. Nice, thanks for the feedback on that. How does, I'm guessing James asks an interesting question. Let me come back to your question about plateaus, James. Let me finish this drawing. I'm going to catch up on the chat real quick and get my pencil box. We can have a look together. Maybe it would give you guys some ideas on some potential materials to look at. Or you can suggest some of your own. That seems like a fairly good place to start. All right, so yeah, partially salvaged. It's not all it could have been, but could have been worse. I must say, I do enjoy a good back view though. Something very satisfying about them when done right. All right, done. 30 minutes, 31, gosh. Okay, quick chat recap. I'm just going to skip through a bunch of this stuff, guys. I'm reading it, but I'm not necessarily going to comment on everything. I'll have to check out that de la Vière book, Frédéric de la Vière. I don't know it. Finally catching a stream. All right, Ishan. Ishan's here, pack it up. Yeah, Ishan, of course we remember you. Yeah, no, I get that, Rick. Critiques amongst you all. I do appreciate that, but I was just kind of verbalizing my own feelings, and yeah, but I think, yeah, please critique each other. I think that's really useful. Yeah, you guys just, yeah. What are your thoughts about Frank Frazetta and Jeffrey Jones? Jeffrey Jones, the digital painter, are you talking about? Give me clarity on that, Samuel. And what else was I going to come back to? Oh, there was something. How does one break through a plateau? I'm going to talk about that while I draw. I'm making a note. Hold on. Okay, and then Frazetta. And Jeffrey Jones. Tell me if I'm thinking of the right Jeffrey Jones. No, what's his name, Jeffrey Jones? Who's Jeffrey Jones? I know of Jeffrey Jones, let me put that there so I can see it. There's Jeffrey Jones, who's a concept artist. Is his name Jeffrey Jones? I think it is. It's the only Jeffrey Jones I know. Digital painter. He's very good. Very good. If it's the same person. Is his name Jeffrey though? I'm losing my mind. Jeffrey Catherine Jones. I know. Oh, you know what? Yes. I haven't seen their work in years. Yes. Sorry, I've just pulled up Jeffrey Catherine Jones, very Frazetta-esque and a different artist. So thank you for reminding me of this artist. They're wonderful. Yes, look, Frazetta, Jones, Achilleos. They all kind of come from a similar place to some degree or another. But obviously, technically, fantastically proficient. Just very good artists. What can you say? Yeah, you can't argue with greatness, can you? Jeffrey Jones, yeah, fantastic. Does anyone get weird reactions when you tell people you do nude figure drawing? I'm still navigating that. There's nothing to navigate, just move on with your day. If they can either enjoy it or understand or not. You're not going to convince people that are pretty. I had someone, I posted, I'll give you, so frustrating. I've been posting a few of these little clips, where I've just taken some of the live stream drawings and just sped them up and I just throw them out as reels. I had one of a male back view. You can see it up there. It's posted probably last week sometime. And someone's comment, which I did delete because it pissed me off at the time. They're just like, that's disgusting. And it's like, okay, that person's never going to be talked around or convinced. For some, would it have been disgusting if it had been a female that I on that reel? So frustrating. You can't convince some people. You can't reason with some people. You just have to move on. And in that case, I deleted their comment because I just thought, you know what? If that's the level, if you're going to come with some constructive criticism, you leave a constructive criticism comment on my page, absolutely fine. And I leave bad comments up, when I get them. But if all you're going to say is that's disgusting, that just tells me that your brain is small, and that I'm not going to be able to make your brain bigger. So that's the end of the conversation. I feel like they have very similar styles. Sorry, getting back to Jones and Frazetta, very similar. I think it's safe to say, although age-wise, let's face it, Jeffrey Jones is older these days, for sure. So would they have been? Was Jones heavily influenced by Frazetta? I want to say yes. But at the same time, it's not like there was a 30-year age gap between them or anything. Or maybe there is. I've got to be careful here. I'm not sure. Love those reels. Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it. Okay, hold on a second, guys. Excuse the mic noise. It's kind of inevitable. Okay, I'm just going to grab my pencils for a second. Let's have a look. Okay, so got a few pencils that are in the running here. Let me go to my close-up. So this one is the Carb Othello by Stabilo. Now this is kind of pastel-y. It's not going to work very well on newsprint, but it's kind of chalky, kind of pastel-y. Has a bit of a you can blend it. It's quite chalky. Not as smooth as charcoal, but it shows up decent. It actually sits quite well on the newsprint, funnily enough. It's not too bad. Now, I don't think I'd get in, I don't think I would line out in the same way, this type of thing, because I think I'll snap it. So I think I'd be more pushing towards more kind of tonal like drawing with the Carb Othello. So that's definitely on the list. This is Faber-Castell Polychromos. Now these are quite waxy. This is very light. I kind of like these, but if I'm going with a waxy pencil, it's probably not my weapon of choice. My weapon of choice for a waxy pencil is the Prismacolor. These are great. Work really well on animation paper. So that's a definite, but you can see I'm not going to be able to draw large the way I do, with the charcoal. This is another polychromos, so this is going to be waxy. Oh, that's the same color as the last. No, it's slightly darker. And then what's this? God, I can't read that. Faber-Castell, is this? Sorry. Albert Dürer. I don't know. So this is quite waxy too. Nah, not keen. Although I've got a bunch of these, so maybe I need to get keen. Anyway, I think it will probably be... See, these are just, you can't even see that, right? This is what I'm talking about with the issue with stuff on camera. It's like if you look at the graphite, see how much glare that has? I can't even barely see that from this angle. This is 5B. Can you even see that? Told you, this stuff doesn't show up on camera or I'll stick newsprint. And then obviously there's the Prismacolor animation pencils. That's an option. Anyway, that's not bad. Sorry, this is not why you came to the stream. My feeling is this. The Carbothello. I think I've got a couple more in here. Yeah, there's a grey one. Ooh, that's nice. Oof, I like that a lot. Okay. We'll see. Let me change the camera. Yeah, you mean this Carbothello? It's nice, right? All right. Brown is nice, yeah. And on a paper more suitable. I was going to say better paper. I don't think that's the right term. I think a fairer way to say it would be on a more suitable paper. It'll show up even more, and I think it will have even better kind of blending potential. The brown one, this one is it's called Stabilo Carb, C-A-R-B, Othello, O-T-H-E-L-L-O. And the number on it is 1400/5655. God, my eyes are shot, guys. That's what I think it says. Anyway, brown. Yeah, I got some other pencils as well, but I've got, the other stuff I've got mainly is just like, I've got boxes of like, things like the monos, which is my favorite, the Tombow Mono, my favorite graphite pencil. The idea with those was, when I bought most of those just before I left LA, and the idea was to work through them and then find the ones I like the most and then order boxes of them. What size paper do you think? 8.5 by 11? I think if I'm going to go to these, the Carbothellos, I think I'm looking at going probably to A3. This is A2, so probably half this size. We'll see. Might just start on a larger pad that I know can take it, and and then I'll just work to the size that feels right. So there'll be a bit of discovery there for me, Watching for the pencils. All right, good. Glad to hear it. Yeah, no, the Carbothello is good. Okay. Take care, Margot. Yeah, you're right, Lulu. Order one box and make sure everything's still on the up and up. Very, very good point. Okay, we are already an hour and 15 in. We have done 2 poses, mostly because, well, you know why, if you've been watching. Anyway, all good conversations. Let's keep going. Look, if we don't get to all the poses, that's okay. Or if we burn into a couple of 5-minute poses at the end, that's also okay. This next pose is going to be a challenge. Let's do it. Probably the same amount of time, right? Okay. We talked about Frazetta and Jeffrey Catherine Jones. Respect to the masters. Plateaus. I haven't forgotten. Here's my opinion on plateaus. I think plateauing is a great thing, because to me at least, it suggests a certain understanding of reaching a certain stage in development. So I think it's very natural to plateau. As I said, I personally think it's a good thing to plateau. It means that you're building up your skill set to the next stage. One thing I've noticed in my journey with both art and music, studying them both, is development is never linear, right? It's never just consistently like one week to the next. You will either plateau or you will get what people call writer's block. I think writer's block and plateauing are actually not so dissimilar, and I think that they can potentially come from a very similar place. And I think both are not to be looked at as I said, not to be looked at negatively. Look at the plateau as an opportunity to continue refining and developing the skills that you've acquired. And I actually think you'll find you'll find that you will come out of that plateau or that block, and you won't even realize it. You know, it's like being in pain. Like while you're in pain, it's all you can think about, right? And the pain is just it's the focus of your concentration, or you know, and it can be all-consuming. The funny thing with pain, as I'm sure you all know, as soon as you're out of pain, the memory of pain goes very, very quickly. It's not like, you know, you have lingering pain, like in as much as, let's say you get a leg cramp, right? And then you're able to stretch your leg out and the cramp goes away. You forget about that pain almost immediately. And I think it's the same with, plateauing or hitting what you know, we consider to be kind of blocks. Once we get over them, they become a distant memory, and we don't really reflect on writer's block or drawer's block when we don't have it. But just use it as an opportunity. Here's the thing, in my experience, and I've said this before, some of you have already heard this, but in my experience, writer's block, plateauing is inevitable. It's not whether it will happen, it's how you choose to react to it. You know, when learning a musical instrument, for example, or any hobby, there's usually initially fast development, right? When you go from zero to nothing, development's can be, at least the initial stage of development can be quite quick, and you can pick things up quickly and you go, oh, I'm a natural at this, or I'm really good at this. And inevitably, fairly soon, you realize the complexity of what it is that you're studying, or, you know, the depth of what it is. And you could argue, in a way, that's a very small kind of plateau, right? The first one of what will be many. I would say that most people that give up hobbies, like, what is it, like people that take up guitar, the percentage rate of people that quit guitar after like the first few weeks is astronomical. I think it's way above like 75%. I forget what the number is. That's essentially people hitting that first plateau off the initial rush of learning something, right? And quitting. Most people quit. I would say most people quit most things when they hit that first plateau. So we all have established the plateau is inevitable. How are we going to react to it? That is where we're all different, and that will really dictate whether you have a standard chance of being good at something. Is how you react to the adversity of the plateau, if that makes sense. So that's my feeling. I would say if you've hit a plateau, celebrate it. It means that you're learning, and it's a very healthy, natural, and good sign. Just keep. Here's the thing, and this is another thing that I bang on about on this stream a few times, every now and then, because I think it's worth mentioning. But you know, this idea of being an artist and going, oh, I'm not feeling it today, I'm not going to draw today because I'm not feeling it. Well, guess what? If you're a professional artist, you don't have the luxury of not feeling it. If you're paid to show up to work, that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to sit down and you're going to draw. Yes, some days you might be especially productive, let's say. But you don't have, you know, imagine if you're working for a film studio or something, and you wake up one day and you just call into your boss and say, I'm not really sick, I'm just not really feeling it today. Do you know how long you'd last? I think you can imagine how long you'd last. You wouldn't last very long at all. So, as someone who's basically spent my whole life essentially being paid to draw, I've never had the luxury of being able to say I'm not feeling it today. And so that's never been in my vocabulary. Which I'm very glad for, to be honest. So what do you do on your plateau? Yeah, maybe take a day or switch up mediums, or there's a variety of like little tricks you can play with yourself. What you can't do is decide not to show up. Because as soon as you go down that path of not showing up, you know, it's like the gym. You know, you take one day off and then you take two, and then it's like, well, there's no point in working out this week because I've already taken 2 days off. I'll go next week. Nah, next week never comes. Just show up. Just show up. Even if you're not feeling it. You know what I would do? Like sometimes practicing music, you know, there'd be days I would not be feeling like practicing. So I would have to play this little ridiculous game with myself, and I'd say, okay, look, I'm just going to practice for 10 minutes, or I'm going to just practice for 15 minutes. Just keep my hands warm, you know? But you sit down. I don't think there was probably ever a practice session that only went 15 minutes. It was just a little trick I told myself to get me in front of the instrument. So do that. Sit down, say, okay, I'll give it 10 minutes. See how it goes. Irma, buenas tardes. I haven't emailed you. Okay, so heads up, everyone. Irma reached out to me after, like last week, after one of the streams, to very kindly offer to help me set up a class in Mexico City. And I got back to Irma and said, thank you. I just need to mull this over and I'll get back to you. And Irma, I know I haven't got back to you yet, and you've been in my thoughts, and I do have every intention of getting back to you. I've got to compose a series of questions that I have for you to find out the feasibility of this. And I haven't got around to doing it yet. But Irma, apologies, but you're on my to-do list. So please forgive me my silence over email. But yes, I have every intention of emailing you. Ishan says, is it just me or does anyone else use the motivation phrase, if you don't draw today, you are gay? Like gay as in happy? Ishan, no, I think you're probably on your own there, buddy. And I'm not sure, let's be very careful with the way that we use our words. I don't think not drawing is going to change your sexuality. That's just my feeling. But please tell me if I'm wrong. No, look, just inevitably there's going to be days where you simply can't get to the board. But if you just have to ask yourself, if this is something that you genuinely want to do and get better at, then try to avoid the procrastination and the excuses. That's all. And I must say, with the greatest respect, Ishan, there's a lot of people that would take what you said there to be very offensive. And I do think it's worth noting. And I know that there's cultural stuff and all the rest that can come into these things, and I'm sure you probably mean no harm by making a statement like that. But this is certainly no place for any such discussion where we would, you know, use that term in a negative way, let's just say, okay? No one says, I am gay, so maybe I do need to draw more. Fair. But you needing to draw more, I'm going to make a wild guess, is not contingent on whether you're gay or not. Okay, just a feeling. All right. Some great lines of action going on here. Something always, this is a subtle point, but whenever drawing a long line like the calf, like coming down here, try and, or at least in my opinion, try and avoid just a straight taper down this way from here. It might be in your initial rhythmical idea, but there's this volume and mass of this tendon here, right? Which is the Achilles tendon, which is attaching obviously to the bulk of the calf sitting in here. I notice a lot of people will just kind of draw and they'll just continue that curve down, and it's a very logical kind of way that we want to draw in many respects, but I actually think that it's nice to just transition at this point and bring in the second curve and then hit the ankle. All right, just a thought. Same thing on the front of the leg. We do want to try and, you know, find this mass sitting across here. Thanks, Ishan. I appreciate you you understanding the spirit and where I'm coming from with that. Any cognitive or locomotor abilities are hard to develop. Learning how to learn is really hard in itself. Learning how to learn was one of the hardest things. I think it's learning how to learn is not talked about nearly enough, and it's massively important. And I agree, Jose, it's a very good point. Learning how to learn is as important as learning what you're learning, if that makes sense. Well, learn how to butcher a sentence from me in 2 easy steps, but you get hopefully what I mean. Yeah, change that phrase. Good man. Yeah. Learning how to learn is the hardest thing to learn, because you don't know how to learn until you learn it. You're absolutely right. Well, not just that, it's learning how to learn. The other thing that you need to learn as a student is you need, and this is the harder part in my opinion, because this is very easily contradicted, but as a student you need to take the responsibility to ask the right questions. Now that's a much more complex minefield of ideas, but I believe that the student has that responsibility to ask the right questions. How do you ask the right questions if you don't know something? That's what learning how to learn is. in my opinion, or it's one aspect of learning how to learn. And I think there are too many students, especially students that pay to go to colleges, for example, that expect to be spoon-fed a series of ideas and expect there to be a predictable outcome at the end of that. And it simply doesn't work like that. The student needs to ask the right questions. So think about that, because I think it's super important. The student also needs to realize that when, regardless of a teacher's ability to do the thing that they do well, does not necessarily mean that that person is a good teacher. You can have someone who's the best at something in the world, doesn't mean that they're going to be a great teacher. And sometimes you can pay a lot of money to study, it could be anything, right? It could be crochet, or it could be music, it could be art, it could be cookery. So many people can spend years learning from the wrong person because that person is simply not a good teacher, but their credentials are based on their ability to do that thing, not on their ability to teach. And I think that the student, it's a very tricky series of subjects. It's the student's responsibility to know when someone is either a good teacher or just good at the thing that they do. And that's something, once again, coming back to the learning how to learn. I think you can learn how to establish whether someone's a good teacher. Even if you don't know the subject, you don't need to know the subject as well as them to know whether they're inherently a good teacher, in my opinion. All very interesting topics. That's why I do truly believe if you've learned, coming back, learn, if you've learned how to learn something, I believe that you can get, there's not, this is not a one size fits all, but there's a lot of subjects that you could learn to a very high level for free on the internet if you know, if you've got a refined bullshit detector, you know whether someone is good at what they're teaching. Because there's some brilliant stuff online. And there's also obviously a lot of crap. But if you've developed that sense at all in how to spot the difference between the two, you can learn many things without having to spend a whole lot of money. The problem is the internet's also littered with crap. So if you don't think you've refined that skill, then you may want to, think about that. Has anything I've been spouting on about for the last 20 minutes made any sense? That's probably the bigger question. Showdark, I have a question. Is it a bad thing to draw every day? Not at all, Showdark. Why would it be a bad thing to draw every day? When I was, working in animation, I had to draw every day. 8 hours, 10 hours a day sometimes. No, your hand won't fall off or anything. Just be mindful of carpal tunnel and things like that, depending on how you're holding your pencil and whether you have good posture in the way that you approach it. That's a student of Richard. I've learned a few things today. That's marvelous. That's why we're here, hopefully, or at least part of the reason, and that That's lovely to hear. Thanks, Ishan. That all things happen through iteration, however. You will ask incorrect things and come to incorrect conclusions. This is the actual part of learning. Yes, but you can ask the incorrect thing and a good teacher will help you course correct that question or reframe that question. So it's actually, and that's part of learning, right? You ask a question that's wrong, let's say, and then a good teacher will say, actually, what you're really asking is this, or maybe a better thing to ask would be this, and they'll help you reframe it. And this is the whole thing. This is the beautiful thing about the transference of information from one individual to the other. It can be a beautiful, beautiful process, or it can be pretty bad, depending. And I tell you all of that through personal experience, right? This is not just stuff read in a book and spouted off. I've had these experiences. I've had the great teachers. I've had the teachers that weren't so great, but they were great at what they did. All of the different versions of what we've been discussing for the last 20 minutes. These are just some conclusions. I don't know. Take it for what it is. But I do feel strongly about some of this stuff because I think there are some people out there spending an awful lot of money on very bad teachers and education, and that I have a problem with. All right. Yeah, Lulu says the BS detector sense is pretty straightforward to develop. Just use brute force and brace yourself to faceplant in the mountain of cavities. You see, but some people, for some people, that BS detector is very hard to develop. You've got to have a certain, I don't know what the word is, but it's not everyone can do it, to be honest. Ishan says, another weird opinion from you. From my PFA, drawing for 4 to 6 days, I feel like my art's gotten better. Why wouldn't it have, Ishan? If you do anything for 4 to 6 days, I would hope you're better than you were before you started. And you'll be better in another 4 to 6 days. But then it might level off for a couple of weeks. Just show up. Just show up. The rest will happen. Okay. I heard if you draw too much, you go blind, but I went to Catholic school. It depends what you're drawing, Rick. And if I know you, you're drawing things that would make you go blind. That's all I'm saying. We'll leave it there. Okay. Gosh, guys, we've only got 20 minutes left. 20-ish. Isha, you're very kind. I'm glad to help. But here's the thing: don't take my word for anything. That's my opinion. But seek the advice of others. You know, like I'm just one person, right? I'm not necessarily right on everything either, right? I think it's important to take from several sources, and there from finding multiple sources is usually where you'll find the truth, because everyone is coming to life with certain biases, certain history, right, with baggage. So I'm making assumptions with my particular set of baggage and my life experiences and everything else. But someone else might be, better teacher than I am and have come with it from a different angle with different baggage. Take from both. Take from 3, 4, 5, as many as you can have an appetite for. And then you'll find your own truth. Okay. All right, we're moving to, look, we're going to have to, and this is such a beautiful pose. Okay, very, very, very quickly. Democracy in action. We got three poses left. We can either spend the remainder of the session on this next pose, or we can do like 3 5-minute poses. Go. Get back to me quickly. And we will, let's see, you've got like, let's say 60 seconds. 3 5s, let's say, or we'll just do the next pose till the end. And then we'll save those other poses, because those other poses are crackers too. So we should do them. But I like this model. I think we'll be drawing her again in the not too distant future. Even though body type wise, she's very similar to a lot of the other models. She poses well. All right, so far, let's see. 5 minute, do quick fire ultra speed, remainder. I vote next pose. Yeah, the next pose, 5 minutes, says Brett. Ishan says next. Petra says next, just next. I think we're just going to do one pose. I think that's where it's leaning. I didn't actually write down numbers, but feels like I think more people are leaning just towards doing one pose. Sorry guys, but that is the way these things work, right? Okay. You see, this is the problem, isn't it? Inevitably, there's going to be some people that are like, anyway. Okay, I think it would be nice. Like, look, it's not like we won't get to those other poses, right? But I also appreciate the people that would like to do 5-minute poses, because, that could be fun too. Noah, I'm not even, sorry, that's, let's, yeah, all right, let me reset the clock. We'll go 15-ish. This is a tricky pose. Sorry. All right. Yeah, lot kind of. It is always worth also just sometimes just taking a minute and just, taking in the pose for a minute before you start drawing. Sacrum iliac crest. There's some great shapes going on here. We would definitely draw this model again, as I said, sooner rather than later. And there's actually, yeah, some quite dynamic poses. Be nice to hit some of those too. Maybe more as gestural. And then, you know, a few of these longer poses. Okay. Yes, Lulu, the scapula is great, isn't it? Thank you for the plateau talk, says Tina. You're very welcome. Incredibly helpful. Yeah, look, none of us are immune to it, right? Like, that's the reality. You can even have it, like, you can even like go on tilt, so to speak, just, you know, for very brief amounts of time. You know, like just like I've even had live streams where I've had many. Many of you have witnessed it. If I do like one horrifically bad drawing, it can set the tone for the rest of the session, and I can't get the wheels to spin together, so to speak. It happens. Like, you know, hopefully in those situations it's short-lived, but yeah, look, none of us are immune. Yeah, remember one live stream where you were on tilt? It's mostly chat sort of setting you off about a pet peeve. There be Lulu, you don't miss a trick. Yeah. There's been a couple of situations where someone said something in the chat that I may or may not have directly, you know, answered to, so to speak, but that have definitely sent me on tilt. And generally, I try to keep those things to myself, but They're always going to find a way to reveal themselves. Well, look, it's tough, isn't it? And people don't do, most times people are coming for their, people's comments or intentions are good, you know, but there's been a couple of times where, yeah, I've been none too happy about certain things that have been said. That's okay, it happens. Brachioradialis overlapping right here. So whoever was asking about that earlier, there it is. Thanks, Angel. One's brain will focus on a few negative things, triggers to have sturdy mental boundaries. And those things tend to be built by experiencing that a few times. Great. Thanks, Lulu. Look, here's the thing. I'm not proud to admit it, but I would say I've probably in my life, and maybe it's got something to do with the way I was brought up and maybe something to do with my childhood, I don't know. But I would say that I'm very much of the mentality of, I can have 1,000 people say nice things to me, and it's that one person that says the negative thing that I will then dedicate myself to proving them wrong, at least in my mind, whether they ever know it or not. Unfortunately, I'm motivated by more by the people, by the naysayers than those that will compliment me. And it's not actually a nice way to operate, truthfully, but it's hardwired, unfortunately. But I've had a few situations in my life where I've either had to deal with certain people professionally or in some kind of context where I've come away from an interaction motivated to either prove them wrong or to myself, if nothing else, or, you know, this type of thing. And it's inevitable, and it's an awful thing to say, but you can get, you know, generally speaking, I get nothing but positivity and overwhelmingly nice comments made or whatever. But which are the ones I will dwell on? Which ones will actually get my attention are the ones that are negative. And I've always been that way. And it's a shame. But it's just the way I'm wired. Don't take that as an invitation to insult me, please. Thinking you're doing me a favor. I think, you know what it is? It's like, I'm very, very insecure about my work and my ability. And when you get comments like that, they're kind of reinforcing that on some level. If that makes sense. I don't know. Am I sharing too much? Maybe I should shut up. Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it. Where on Grafit Studio is the reference? This is a reference pack. It's a fairly recent one. I used to link in my description. In every YouTube video, I used to link to the reference. And YouTube decided to give me a strike because of it, because I was linking to sometimes to web pages that had nudity on them, right? Like Grafit Studio. So I can't share the links anymore. Now I will say, I don't know if this really helps you, unfortunately, Alan, members do have access to all the reference that we're using on my website. I host the reference images there and also a link to the full reference pack. But if you're not a member, you won't have access to that, I'm afraid. So yeah, but yeah, like YouTube, literally give me a strike just for a link in my video. So I literally had to remove the links out of 100 and something streams, not too recently ago. And I'm still enduring that strike now. Literally on the back of another strike, which had just expired. As you can tell, YouTube are not too, you know, I guess not too thrilled with me doing this or people doing what I'm doing here. And they don't really seem to care that it's educational or that it's art related. In their mind, nudity is nudity, and it must be squashed. Yeah, Lulu, I do the same thing. Your dwell comment. Yeah. General's charcoal. Yes, 6B. Drawing from imagination. All right, I think we're getting close to the end. I will leave, for those of you who have access to the reference, I will leave these additional poses that we haven't got to today up, as I usually do, but I may remove them before we draw this model again, or I'll just repost them so we can draw her again, because I think she's been great. S. Baldrick's become a member. Awesome. Welcome. I'll just call you Baldrick if you don't mind. It's the YouTube algorithm. Yeah, I had to redraw the cleavage on her model, so she used a pacifier to censor it until it got fixed, which was rather poignant. Well, yes, and that's the other thing with the YouTube AI. I guarantee you this stream, as with all of my streams, by the time we're done here and I go to the YouTube channel page, this stream will already be demonetized. Which, if I, not to, keep banging on about this stuff, not that I do, I don't think, but, this is why your guys' membership is really important. I don't want to make anyone feel guilty if they can't become a member. I completely get it. And you're always welcome regardless. But if you can support the channel in any way, it's really appreciated. Membership's a great way to do that. Because yeah, YouTube do a number. They really don't like figure drawing. Anyway, enough of that. Enough of that talk. Guys, I think we are getting close here, huh? Ah, that line wasn't meant to happen. Okay. Anyway, and thank you so much, Rick. Much appreciate the donation. Very kind. I googled Rose's line and it was $5.89. But stupid YouTube wouldn't let me put that amount in. Well, that's very kind. I actually think it's a little bit cheaper here in the UK. But I'll have a bottle of Rose's lime on you. I appreciate that. It's mostly advertisers in the YouTube kids thing. Moderation in a platform with goals like this one is hard. Yeah, no, I know. Well, the YouTube kids thing is, I'm very clear in the setting up of these videos that it's not for kids. But it's also another reason why the reference isn't on the screen. It'd be how nice would it be if the reference could sit right here? I can't. It'll get me kicked off YouTube. One last thing on negative comment thingy. Trick that helps me is thinking about how I feel about it and then processing each time. You're absolutely right, Lulu. Pay attention to the stuff you care about, and I do. I try to too, but sometimes it's easier than others, right? My problem, I'm just coming back to your thing about the advertisers thing, Jose, and I completely agree with you and what you're saying. My problem with that whole argument is, to the other point being made, is some of the stuff that YouTube allows up and monetizes is absolutely disgraceful. They're not consistent. And I just think that, you see, I can't get categorized as an art channel or an educational channel, for example. They won't even, I've tried, I've talked to them, but can't do it. Yeah, and how about you make YouTube Kids into a completely separate platform? That would be a fantastic idea. I agree, Lulu. Anyway, I think Rick's right. It's time to wrap this thing up. Yeah, not too happy with this last post. I just want to do one thing, because her hand is on a box. I do want to just kind of suggest that. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I think it's as good a place as any. Guys, thank you so much for joining me, not only today, but as usual. And as I always say, the stream is nothing without you guys. You make it happen. Thank you so much for the conversation, for the questions, for joining me on this lovely Thursday. We will do this all again on Monday. I'm not sure what we're going to draw on Monday. It's still a surprise to me. But it will be more either studying related, or we'll look at the masters. You know, I'm not sure. We'll focus in on some anatomy. Let's see. I will. You guys will. We will all know on Monday. Okay, enough rambling. I feel like I've rambled a lot today. Anyway, guys, thank you so much, and have a wonderful weekend. Look after yourselves, and I will see you all then. All right, cheers. Take care. Bye.